When she first gets her hands on it, she looks so excited, but it's honestly terrifying to know that she's about to look inside, even though I've been wanting to yell at her to do that through my television screen for the past 8 episodes now. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. In this one I'm going to be reviewing the second to last episode of the Netflix original series You, but first I want to do a quick recap of what happened in the previous episode, You Got Me Babe, so we can refresh our memory. Following Joe and Beck's breakup due to the loss of Beck's loved ones, Benji and Peach, in addition to Joe's untrustworthiness, Joe gets a new girlfriend named Karen who also happens to be his new neighbor. They hit it off immediately and things seem to be going well for the couple for the first couple of months, but a fateful night in the city results in the former couple, Joe and Beck, secretly hooking up behind Karen's back. Not wanting to continue keeping secrets from her and hoping to rekindle the relationship that he once had with Beck, he breaks up with Karen and she takes it surprisingly better than he expected. The reason why she does this, though, isn't revealed until the very end of the episode when Karen warns Beck that Joe can't be trusted due to whatever he did to his ex-girlfriend Candace, leaving her feeling doubtful, worried, and confused all at the same time. Now, I'm not sure how Karen found out about Candace. I'm thinking it possibly could have been because the girls were messaging each other online behind Joe's back, but we're supposed to get more information in this episode, episode 9, titled Candace. If your name is Guinevere Beck, a young, attractive grad student living in New York City, the name Candace is one that you've heard at least 1,000,000 times before, but you've never had a face to match it up with, or even a real story. You know that your boyfriend Joe was in a relationship with her before he met you, but nothing more than that. Whenever her name is brought up in a conversation between the two of you, or even others, Joe immediately shuts it down, but now his latest ex-girlfriend, Karen, is making you realize that he can't leave you in the dark about what happened between the two of them forever. Over the course of your relationship, Joe has vivid dreams of Candace where she's cheating on him over and over again, just like she did in real life. This happens even when he's in bed with you, but you pretend to have no idea. It's an awful thing to imagine your significant other doing, and even worse to actually experience, so from a psychological standpoint, it's understandable that Joe is such an overprotective boyfriend to the point where he's extremely dangerous, killing anyone he sees as a threat. With that being said, in no way does it make it right, and even he knows that at this point because he did the same exact thing to Karen just to be with Beck. Maybe his way of justifying his actions is by telling himself that with him and Beck, they share a love that he would do anything to keep, and Candace just didn't care about anyone else but herself. Finally wanting to get further answers, she pries him for information, to which he gives in the vaguest way that he possibly can. As shady of a person he is, he does have a way with words, attempting to sum it up by saying, "The truth is, some people seem to function to show you what isn't right for you," and honestly, I felt that. I think we all did if we were paying attention to the conversation that they had in one of the very first scenes of the episode. The way that the music, on top of the urgency in Joe's voice to shut the conversation down, does a 10 out of 10 job at making it uncomfortable to watch though. Hoping to move past this chapter in his life, Joe seeks out the help of Dr. Nikki, the therapist that he accused Beck of cheating on him with in the first place, who seems to be having relationship problems of his own that he can't seem to hide, even when meeting with his clients. The only piece of advice he seems to be able to offer Joe is to face Candace, which takes him back to all of the most character-defining moments of their relationship. He then remembers how he met her for the first time, gave her a first edition copy of her favorite book with a note in it just for her, realized that she was cheating on him with the man who signed her to a record label, and naturally pushed that man off a building. I mean, that's just what you gotta do with anyone who poses a threat to your relationship, just like Benji and Peach did with Beck, right? No. Boys and girls, don't go around thinking that it's acceptable to push people off buildings, poison them to death by putting peanut oil in their lattes when you know that they're allergic to it, or shooting them to death, then faking it as a suicide, or all of the above. Don't be like Joe, just take my advice like I'm your personal Dr. Nikki, and don't. I have to admit that watching the scene where he killed someone for the first time, I knew that it wasn't what he planned on doing. He never intended to be a killer when he grew up, but the anger, hurt, and betrayal that he was feeling at the time made him lose sight of what was right and what was wrong. So he finally revisits the building where he pushed him, takes out a lighter, and sets fire to the note he wrote for Candace. But while he's putting himself through all this mental torment to be a better man for Beck, she tracks down everyone who ever knew her, other than Joe, to find out why they really broke up and where she is now. Ethan tells Beck that after their breakup, Joe disappeared for a number of days and came back, not bothering with his appearance in the slightest, but all that changed when he met her, so it's best to let it go. Maddie, a former friend of the couple, tells her that Candace ghosted everyone after cheating on Joe, and her brother thinks that she could be dead. Officially convinced that Joe can't keep secrets from her longer than he already has, she floods him with more questions, and all of them are answered when he reveals to her that Candace really did ghost everyone simply to start over, even going as far as to change her name in the process, making her feel terrible for being so suspicious. This is an episode that urges us to always trust our gut instincts though, because while Joe realizes that Beck actually did cheat on him, Beck realizes that Joe actually is a killer. In my opinion, I think that she left Joe for Dr. Nikki and realized in his absence that her new relationship wasn't what she wanted. Still, she wanted to seem like the bigger person when she caught him following her through the city, except they're actually both pretty low in my book now. She was probably so concerned that Joe killed Candace because she didn't want to meet the same fate, but excuses herself by saying what she had with him was so perfect that she thought it was bound to be ruined eventually, taking it upon herself to be the one doing the ruining to save herself the pain of anything that could happen between them in the future. Maybe Joe can buy it because he's so desperate to be loved, but I would have slammed the door in her face because I can't forgive anyone who cheats. Even if I knew in my heart that you would never do it again, the fact that you did it at one point is enough to prove that you don't deserve me. So if you try to slide into my DMs with bad intentions, I'm just going to warn you now to think again. Something that I never mentioned before but feel like I should now is that Joe's inner commentary is really important in the show's attempt to get the audience to better understand him. I mean, he killed for her because he thought she wasn't like Candace, and the blurriness of the camera shows just how livid he is at the possibility of that being false. To hold on to the sliver of sanity that he has left, however, he then tries to convince himself that Candace did it for her own pleasure. Beck, on the other hand, isn't used to being loved, a thought that puts all the dreams he had of the other woman to an end. It's sad, really, the fact that we can sympathize with him here. Unlike some people may think, I don't think he had feelings for Candace at any time during his relationship with Beck. I think he was just so caught up in the fact that he was cheated on in the past that he never wanted to experience that kind of mental torment again, which makes sense. Beck then realizes that Joe isn't the person he pretends to be in the most mundane way possible, with Paco returning a book he himself was given to from him. He's relieved to know that he isn't there after a fight that they got into, and says the only reason it took him so long was because it was hidden in the bathroom ceiling, a place Joe said was once perfect for hiding things. In his case, it was to avoid Ron, but in Joe's case, it turns out that it was to avoid Beck, because in there, she finds a box where he's hidden all the evidence of the most damning crimes he's committed leading up to this point. I feel like this was the perfect timing too, because even though I waited so long for this to happen, for her to finally uncover the truth, the anticipation was worth it. When she first gets her hands on it, she looks so excited, but it's honestly terrifying to know that she's about to look inside, even though I've been wanting to yell at her to do that through my television screen for the past 8 episodes now. I think it's because I know what will be in there, but she has a lot to sink in, and that's something no one can deny. The first thing that she finds is her phone and her journal, and looking through another person's belongings is invading their privacy, but that's probably the least of her concerns as she continues to search through it and finds things that seem to be more out of a nightmare than a reality. Not only is there an actual finger in there that once belonged to another human being, but also phones belonging to Peach and Benji, and a container holding Benji's teeth. As mortifying as it is for her to finally put the pieces of her relationship together for once and all, it's actually smart of her to stay silent, because this happens right when Joe returns home from a quick run to the store, leaving her with no choice but to step out of the bathroom. She's obviously struggling to keep her cool like it's any other day though, shaking upon seeing him again, and girl, I'd be shaking too. She knows it's game over if he goes into the bathroom, which he actually does right after her, and I can seriously feel the anxiety they both feel just watching it happen. Both are terrified for their lives because Beck knows that she could end up like everyone else Joe's managed to get his hands on, and Joe knows that he could end up in jail the way Ron always wanted, without even knowing the extent of his crimes. The next thing she knows, she's waking up in the same place Benji once did, the first person who died for Joe to be with her, and it's seriously such a dehumanizing situation to be put in. The last time she was in there was probably when Joe put together a candlelit dinner for 2 after work, and the first time was when he wanted to show her what kind of person he really was, but clearly he does more than collect rare books in his spare time. Well, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!